Legacy Media is falling apart, and as it crumbles, a void is opening, a void that we intend to fill. The big legacy news networks currently average just 1.2 million viewers a weeknight, and those numbers are only going to get lower. Legacy Media is dying, and the younger generation has moved on. Legacy Media panders. Legacy Media lies. Legacy Media does not know what the truth is, and they don't care about it. Legacy Media is a dumpster fire. This is why we few in our wild imaginations have started the Fight Laugh Feast Network. Our goal is to take down the legacy media giant of the last 50 years with our 5 stones. We started in 2016 with our flagship show, Cross Politic. Since those small beginnings, we now air on DirecTV. Our broader podcast network now gets over 4 million downloads a year. And our Fight Laugh Feast pub, which includes TV shows like This America, The Rowdy Christian's Guide, Pastors in Politics, and As the Lord Pleases, with your support, many more to come. Our goal is to become the flagship new media 2.0 network over the next 50 years and take over nightly news, sports, sitcoms, hunting shows, and more, all conveniently stored for you in our Fight Laugh Feast pub. We're already reaching the next generation through our podcast shows on YouTube, X, and our pub, while also tapping into legacy media audiences by airing our shows on TV through DirecTV and Xfinity. We have made a lot of progress with some duct tape and a good bit of intuition and a lot of sweat. And now we need your support more than ever. The TV networks have had such a negative impact on our households, and we're trying, by the grace of God, to put a stop to that. We have the opportunity. We just need the army. Now more than ever, we need you to join our pub to help us reach our goal of 1 million pub supporters in the next 5 years. There's no way around it. Competing with Fox and the Alphabet networks without money is virtually impossible. It's cheap for you to join. And when you do, you're combining your small monthly support with a growing army of like-minded Christians. We have thousands, we need millions. So if you want more of the Alphabet network's misinformation and lies, don't join. But if you want to give us a mere 5 stones, then please join the pub, and together we will take a swing at the head of big media, all the while fighting, laughing, and feasting to the glory of God.
A master called together a few young men of this generation and spoke to them, saying, "I gave your great-grandfathers a time of despair and poverty and global war. They were strong and victorious and built an empire greater than any other. But they were terrible fathers and raised entitled sons and daughters of rot who inherited everything through no courage of their own. To those rotten sons, your own grandfathers, I gave abundance and wealth and stability. But they pissed it all away on debauchery and sexual revolution, establishing many idols and slaughtering tens of millions of children in sacrifice to their appetites. One generation fought against the perpetrators of a great Holocaust. The next dishonored that victory with an even greater Holocaust of their own children. The children who did survive, your fathers, carried on the sexual descent of their parents into new madness and new disease, piercing and inking their skin like death-worshipping pagans as they did, establishing special days of pride to celebrate the debauch, slaughtering more children and castrating and poisoning others, claiming to be creators when they were destroyers, mutilating the young and calling it acceptance. All these generations I have judged, and am judging. Their madness now is only a taste of my wrath." The young men were afraid and asked the master why he had called them and why he was telling them these things. "Because it is now your turn. I am giving all of this chaos to you," he said. "Your inheritance is a world of crumbling false gods crowded with blind and mad worshippers. I am entrusting you with a world of empires built on cracked and heaving foundations. The time of your inheritance is near. You have only a little while to prepare yourselves. Seize this moment of chaos and build me a world of sanity and righteousness. When I return, I will judge what you have built for me. With so much rubble to work with, I expect great things." The master turned to leave, but the young men begged him to wait. "How can we do this?" they asked. There are hundreds of millions of unbelievers in our nation alone and only a few of us. Their master answered, saying, I am not a hard master. You will have the truth and wisdom if you desire it. And you may each choose one woman to help you. That should be enough. Go now and build New St. Andrews College. Carpe Chaos.
Me. Everybody with me now. Oh.
Who can take your money? Who can take your money? With a twinkle in their eye.
Come on, you know this song. You pay
Take
taxes.
it all away and give it to some other guy.
Oh, the government. Oh,
The government can.
The government can.
Who can tax the sunrise?
Who can tax the sunrise?
Who can tax the trees?
the Democrats and Republicans together.
Let you run a business and collect up all the fees. The government.
The government.
Oh, the government can.
The government can.
And the government can, cause they mix it up with lies and make it all taste good.
Make it all taste good.
We've been experiencing a lot of that.
Mix it up with lies
And make it all taste good.
Right?
That is
I don't
exactly.
know if I've ever listened to all the words of that song.
Tim Hawkins was, how old is this? This is like 15 years old.
Really?
I think this is 15 years old. He wrote this 15 years ago, and it's still as relevant today
Oh my goodness.
as when he wrote it.
Yes,
And we
yes.
should have it on repeat just to remind
Yeah,
ourselves.
but the government can.
The government takes everything we make to pay for all of their solutions. I
Yeah.
know this song way too. My
Yeah,
daughter was 2
yeah.
years old, running around the house
Man, that's
singing
good.
this.
No, I
song.
don't think I ever heard it before until you played it here.
Oh man, it's an old song.
Yeah.
Gabe is out, so you're stuck with me and Pastor Toby. We have a great show planned for you today. Pastor Toby, tell everybody what we're talking about.
It's Doge is praying. It's so no. Doge is getting Democrats to pray.
There we go.
Doge isn't
Yes,
praying,
that's-
but maybe they're praying. But
Well-
but the Democrats are really praying because of Doge.
We'll find out what kind of show we're having together. I have some clips. We'll see if it all works.
The government can. Do you find yourself turning on the news and feeling hopeless? Woke agendas, open borders, inflation, the list goes on. There's something you can do. Buy from companies that believe what you and I believe. We need to stick together now more than ever. And there has been one company willing to stand with you since 2012. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They offer the very best nationwide 4G, 5G coverage on all networks. In fact, they use the same towers as the major carriers. Patriot Mobile has service plans to fit any budget, and their 100% US-based customer support team provides exceptional customer support. More importantly, Patriot Mobile shares your values and supports organizations fighting for religious freedom, your constitutional rights, the sanctity of life, and our veteran and first responder heroes. So switch to Patriot Mobile today and get free activation with the offer code CrossPolitics. So you go to patriotmobile.com/crosspolitic and use the promo code CrossPolitic. I'm gonna read one more.
Oh, I was gonna say, I thought you might have had
Yeah,
another one in
I'll
you.
just taking a breath.
Yeah, okay.
Just catching my breath.
Because I was about to jump.
I know you were. Business owners, is your company struggling to grow? What if I told you that the right employee could grow your business by 5, 10, or even 25%? You would be crazy not to take that deal, right? Well, that's exactly what redballoon.work, Red Balloon Recruiter, offers. Our personalized source and screen process connects you with top talent, increasing revenue and reducing costs. So visit redballoon.work today. That's redballoon.work today and transform your hiring.
So Gabe's out with bacterial pneumonia.
Whoa!
Yeah, I don't know
Whoa!
how he got that,
Yeah.
but I don't think
The
he.
plague.
Yeah. So
The
here's
plague.
what's crazy. He didn't just get it today.
No,
No, he
He-
had it yesterday,
he was here yesterday.
and he was here yesterday,
I know,
and probably the day before.
right?
And he just been running around here,
Just rubbing his germs.
bacterial pneumonia, and everybody.
Everybody. I know.
So
As soon as I saw his text, I sort of felt bad. I was like, I think I feel bad.
yeah, right.
You know,
My
like,
too.
you know
I was
what
like,
I
my
mean?
stomach. I don't know.
You're like,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't even know what bacterial pneumonia, but I was like, I'm feeling bad. I think I'm getting sick.
And I don't like the fact that he
Yeah.
could have not been here yesterday.
For
And
real.
'cause I don't
And
wanna
he told
catch
us.
that.
He told us on the show. He's like, I'm not feeling good.
how many Sundays do you take off from preaching? Like hardly ever, right? Like you
No.
hardly ever, right?
No.
So because you
No.
so even when you're sick, you're usually up there. Like there's
Yeah.
sickness doesn't usually unless you can't walk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I
Does he
don't-
know that that's like kind of important for pastors not to get sick?
That's a good point.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
I wasn't even thinking about it like that, but like, yeah.
That's
a good
what I
point.
think about.
For the gospel.
Yeah, you got to think about all the rest of your church mates.
Yeah.
Yo, you know, I think about
know,
that stuff.
God is kind, and I mean, I'm really rarely sick.
Yeah, you have
I-
a really good immune system.
particularly on Sundays. It's kind of God's really kind. Like, I mean, I occasionally get a little bit sick, and it's like, but it's hardly ever on a Sunday.
I'm gonna tell you,
It's
I'm
the-
almost sick
It's the Holy Spirit
after Friday night.
and the angels and the archangels.
God just protected you with that. That's
They're like, okay, if he's got to go down, he's going down on a Tuesday.
yeah. See, that's the kindness of God.
But I usually bounce right back. So it's
The hours I work, I'm usually like beating myself
Yeah, I
up,
know.
and by the time
I know
Friday
what
night
you
comes,
do. I know what you do. I've been working with you long enough, and you're like burning the candle at both
Yeah,
ends. You're
that's
like
not a
going to
good
bed
thing.
at 1 and getting up at 3,
that's
and
not
then
a
you do
good
that
thing.
for 4 days, and then you wonder, and then you wonder.
Why am I not?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So,
and then you die.
We're
You're
not the
just
only
down.
people who are sick. CNN has been sick. Everybody knows about that. And
CNN is on life support.
yeah, well, it's kind of weird. They are on life support, but they have a look. They're breathing on their own, and it's interesting. I think Scott Jennings is helping. I think they're trying to find a wider audience. I actually think as a business model, CNN has some potential.
Okay.
I don't think they're quite dead
Well,
yet.
primarily though because of Scott Jennings.
Yes. Well, I think whoever's running it knows that they have to become.
It's like they got a unicorn.
Yes.
They're like, look, it's a conservative.
They started
In
doing
its
this though.
natural habitat.
That they're not.
Watch them.
They're not conservative in their positioning. What
No.
they're trying to do though is trying to be whatever they think normal is, what they think people want with normal.
Yeah.
And so they've been cutting the radical people from CNN for a long time.
Yeah.
I can't remember the lady who's on there right now. She has a show that Jennings is on all the time. She's trying her best not to let her radical
Right.
progressive nature like spill out from the back of her makeup.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
She's tried her very best.
Try to leave the demon in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is hard. It's hard because every now and then her face
You're
warps.
like,
Yeah. And Scott gets
Yeah.
it to do that.
Yeah.
Well, Anderson Cooper was he had on, I believe it was Governor Sununu, and they were talking about Elon Musk at the White House.
Mhm.
And it's really interesting because I'm not going to show you. Everybody knows how the narrative of the left usually play the story. They play the clips they want you to see, and they don't talk about or show you the rest of the story so you can actually have a full narrative.
Right.
Well, Governor called him on it, and then this broke out.
I know what you're not showing here. Musk gave 7 specific examples off the top of his head of where the corruption and fraud were. I know you didn't play the clips. He was talking about a contractor that had a 3-month contract. He was paid for 20 years. He was talking about welfare benefits that were being paid to someone that was technically 150 years old. He was talking about line items in the
But we
treasury
didn't
that
see
had
any
no
of that.
justification.
There's no any actual, like he doesn't present any actual evidence.
Well, he's standing there in the Oval Office. Do you expect him to come in with 10,000
pause.
pages? And I have to be clear.
This is really interesting to me because as soon as you got a governor, and then you have an actual journalist
Right.
that says, well, he didn't bring any actual evidence of that. Isn't your job to go and find out if this is true or not? Like this,
Right.
what you do this
Right.
for, like that's your job.
Right.
So you should be up there petitioning for it, asking for it, searching it out to find it. I mean, a lot of this stuff is open information. It's not hidden. Doge is putting it out there. You can find it. There's a paper trail.
Right.
Does the lime mine exist
Right.
or not?
Right.
Which I found out it does.
Yeah.
It's a real
It's
thing.
real. It's real. Totally real.
I did not want to believe we were that inefficient.
Right.
It literally takes months to retire people.
Right.
That's why they can only do 10,000.
Right. And
a-
that's
a month.
and that's why we have such a bloated state,
Yes.
a bureaucracy.
Yes. You
Yeah.
can continue.
Okay.
To complain about this administration about transparency when this president takes open questions on a daily basis,
Yes.
yet Joe Biden didn't show up for a press conference this 6 months is insane. These guys are being extremely transparent. They don't have to sit there and take the questions, but they do. It's all on the website. It's all out there.
It's not transparency to say things that have no factual background. I mean, to say we're cutting, we've found $1 billion or $1 trillion in waste with no
How do you know it's not
specifics, that's
factual?
just talk. That's not transparency.
It's 23 days in here, guys. 23 days. You were talking about 2.3 billion that was saved last year. These guys are saving 2.3 billion a day.
Right, but you know,
it's incredible.
That's what they're saying. But where's the
But again,
proof?
you're waiting. You're not going to be satisfied till he shows up with 10,000 pages. I
No,
think
no,
in
but
about
we're talking
one
about
month,
10,000
he's gonna
pages.
One page.
He's giving
How
very
about one
specific
page?
things,
Yes, he's giving
but
very
he's not
specific
actually giving any evidence of that.
It's all going to come because what they also said was, if we have to go to Congress, we'll go to Congress.
Right, but
We'll show where it
some
is.
of the details that have come out, like the $59 million spent on luxury hotels, it's actually not
You're talking about the FEMA money that was
Yes.
abused for migrants. That
Yes.
was
Yeah.
FEMA money for migrants. That's okay now.
No, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay. Don't put words
So
in
would
my mouth.
you stop that? Would
The
you stop that process?
Don't be a dick. The portray. What I'm saying
not
is
an
the
answer.
portrayal
Whoa.
Hey,
by
stop.
him is
It's not an answer.
What?
Okay, so there were some discrepancies on whether or not it was luxury hotels or not. And so people are questioning that. But why come they aren't questioning the $59 million
Yeah.
spent
Right.
on illegal immigrants
Right.
and housing them?
Right.
I don't care if it's a Motel 6.
Right.
I don't really care. And notice he doesn't answer the question.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you the hotel discrepancy, whatever. Are you for $59 million
Right.
being spent on people who aren't American citizens?
Right.
And his response and retort wasn't one that it's just to shut you up.
Right. Yeah. Don't
So-
be a jerk.
Don't be a jerk. Why don't you do the job you're supposed to do? This CNN, in one sense, is if they are going to convert their own people.
Yeah.
Because anybody with any sort of common sense is going to watch this and be like,
Wow. Yeah. Anderson Cooper, what's wrong with you?
dude, you're supposed to be a top-notch journalist.
Right.
And to be that crass with another guy who's making a good argument,
Right.
make the argument that this was wrong. He doesn't do that.
Right.
And so it's just,
Yeah.
So you have this kind of whole thing kick off, and then you have the rest of the Democrats are trying their very best to create some momentum, some anger with the rest of the people in America, and it's not working.
Right. Well, this guy is the cheerleader. I mean, that's not helping.
And so you got Ayanna Pressley, who was a part of the squad, which, by the way, they've been really quiet lately.
Yeah, they have.
I think, again, when the budgets go down, we're going to show some Ayanna Pressley at an event where she's trying to get people riled up. I just want everybody to notice, when you shoot movies and you do TV, especially when you're doing like large productions, you don't shoot it with a wide angle lens because you don't want to have to fill up all of that area with production to show scale.
Okay.
And so it's cheaper in your budget to have a very long telephoto lens so you can keep it tight.
Right.
And then you only have to fill the frame.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So then you can do, very micro stuff and it looks huge. Oh, it's as big. And it's really not that big at all. So you have Ayanna Pressley, who then goes in and finds the little bit of hint, like, okay, we might have some room to work with somebody who wants to find government problems. We might want to, if they were being honest.
Okay.
Look, let me tell you something. I'll take a bit of umbrage here. I'll speak on behalf of my colleagues. I think I can say we are all willing to work with anyone who's serious about doing the work of censoring the American people and advancing progress. But they are not serious. This is not about government efficiency. What kind of efficiency makes people hungrier, poorer, and less safe?
Okay.
So that's a fair question. If what Doge is doing is making people hungrier, unsafe, right? That's a fair statement. But here's my question: what kind of government inefficiency that goes on with all the programs that you have create 239% higher cost of eggs?
Right. Right.
All the people that you want are in office, and prices and everything are right. Inflation's going nuts.
Right.
You have money being spent in areas that 59 million for illegal immigrants, and you want me to be comfortable with what you're saying? It's not like, well, let's give more money to the system.
Right.
The issue would be, how do we take it away so that we can actually have more money in our pockets to pay for the things that we want? But instead, what you get is he is touching their golden calf. Right now, this is how they fund what they do. And this is the first time I've heard any hint of like, yes, we are for some sort of conglomerate working together if you were doing something that was good for the people.
Right.
But I don't know how they see government spending that is outside of the realm and the authority that they have to spend in other countries and even funding things in America that's not DEI stuff and things like that, that's actually beneficial to how I live. If I get more of my money, can I do more of what I want to with my money?
But that's not their worldview at all. I mean, their worldview is that the government has to provide for you. So like they don't want you to keep more of your money.
Well, I think
that's greed.
Well, and they act like everybody is at such a level where you have to have the government help you.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
their worldview is like you can't get along unless the government is helping you. You have to have the government help you. And so like that's their idea of efficiency.
And that's everybody.
Is everybody's got to be helped. You know, maybe some people a little bit more than others, but like that's just what the government has to do. I think this goes back to what we talked about also, that 1964, the sort of civil rights legislation and that parallel constitution that Christopher Caldwell talks about.
Yes.
This is an understanding that says the government exists to ensure that you get the things that you believe you need. The government exists for that. And so that means the government's got to have all these programs. And so efficiency just means giving, making sure everybody's getting those things that you think you're entitled to.
They have a completely different concept of what the government is.
So when she says this, she says, I'm open to, efficiency. I'm open to us, double checking. But it's like we're thinking about entirely different visions of what it means to flourish as human beings. You and I are thinking in terms of that means me providing for myself and my family. And then when people are in need, we work together in a community to take care of one another. And in churches and in small communities, we look out for one another.
Yeah.
And then maybe in a natural, national disaster, we would temporarily bind together to help each other out.
Yeah.
But that the government is primarily there to punish evildoers, protect private property, and make sure that my rights are not infringed upon. That's a negative view of rights rather than a positive view of rights. And I think she's got a completely different worldview of rights and freedom and so on.
And somehow she's been elected to office in America.
Well,
that's bad.
Yeah. But
we have a problem of how we understand the government too. If she's holding the office,
right?
In our country.
I know. Yeah.
There was there is a POGO, I believe it is.
Okay.
I want to say something else about this real quick because I'll probably repeat this a couple different times. All the outrage over what Elon Musk is doing with Doge and what President Trump is doing, investigating places like Doge, not investigating USAID and other entities. It's not real outrage, it's a distraction. What they have to do is they have to say, if they continue to do this, you will lose everything while they figure out a way to stop them. And it's to create noise. So this is almost like, I know you're on the wall with your sword and the shovel, but I need you to get off of it.
Right.
And that's what they're doing. They're just yelling at you from the bottom of the wall to try and tell you, we need you to stop building these walls.
Yeah.
We need you to stop restoring the country, because if you do that, we won't have any more power.
Yeah, but the thing is this administration is very well embodied in J.D. Vance's now infamous retort, "I don't really care, Margaret."
That's where we need to be at.
Everybody needs to be there, and I think they're already there. But it's like, I don't really care.
That's right.
Like, you can keep screaming, you can keep hollering, you can keep having your little press conference.
Yeah. With 13 people there in the back.
Yeah, I don't really care, Margaret.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of us that are there, but this stuff should not impress us whatsoever. No. So there's a entity called, I didn't even know about this, I learned about this today, POGO.
POGO.
Yes, it's Project on Government Oversight.
Project on Government Oversight. Okay.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be Doge, but as our producer said, it's the woke version of Doge. And I guess this guy who was by the name of Dylan Hetler had been in there since 2018. He was underneath Trump's administration. Okay. And he supposedly...
Oh, since the first administration?
Yes.
So he was appointed during the first administration?
At some point, yes. 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
So that would be in the middle of
Trump's administration,
okay.
right?
And this is called what again?
This is a Project on Government Oversight, which is supposed to be like a Doge.
It was supposed to be the original Doge.
Right.
Okay.
And so Doge now is having their own committee hearings. Right. Marjorie Taylor Greene is on the board there. Okay. And so they have this hearing. And so he goes before the Doge committee hearing.
Okay.
And this is what he decides to say.
Waste is different from fraud. Fraud is different from abuse, and abuse is different from both. When we talk about improper payments, they are a subset of those other three categories. But that doesn't tell us the whole picture either. Sometimes improper payments are a function of bad record keeping. Sometimes they are a function of outdated information technology systems. Sometimes they come about through human error, and sometimes they come about through negligence. There are a variety of reasons why improper payments happen. It just simply is not the case that improper payments are only a function of bad people doing bad things with bad intent. That doesn't mean we shouldn't focus on trying to mitigate improper payments, and that certainly doesn't mean that the American people should not be concerned with how their tax dollars are used.
Now, if you're watching this clip, there's a couple thoughts running through your mind. It's like, is that man blind? You will be correct in saying, yes, he is going blind. And is the name of the committee Project on Government Oversight? Yes, it is.
Knox.
I'll let you write the rest of those jokes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Now,
wow.
To get to,
wow.
I just want to point out that God writes the best stories.
Yes.
And this is one of them right now.
Wow. Okay.
And if God is trying to communicate something to us, I think we should be hearing it loud and clear.
Right. Right.
We should also see what is going on.
Right. If we're going to, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
So I just want to point out that he's saying like, hey, we have spending out here. It's not all nefarious.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons.
There's a lot of reason. Like $520 million for ESG consultants in Africa.
Right. That might just be a bookkeeping.
I wonder if he saw that. $59 million to house immigrants in New York City. We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
$50 million for condoms in Gaza. 50. Okay.
50 million for what?
No. Went to Mozambique.
Mozambique.
Yeah,
it went to Mozambique.
Yeah.
Oh,
50 million.
That's better. That's what
they $50 million for condoms in Mozambique.
Right.
Somehow it's our responsibility to make sure that we take care of that.
What?
So let's just
what?
$20 million for Sesame Street Iraqi show. We know about that. $1.5 million in advance for DEI Serbia training in workplaces. $70,000 for a DEI musical production in Ireland. I'm just gonna keep going. $47,000 for transgender opera in Colombia.
How many condoms is that?
I don't even want to do the math, Pastor. To be very honest with you, that's not the equation I ever want to know. Don't y'all do it.
Why?
Don't y'all do it.
Why
don't you put it in the comments. I don't want to know how many condoms that is.
What in the world?
So I know that $32,000 for a transgendered comic book in Peru doesn't seem like a lot of money.
How much?
32,000.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about 520 million to 2 million, 32,000 is like, okay, what's next? It's 32,000 of our money.
Right.
That shouldn't be going to Serbia.
Right.
How about we keep our money for ourselves?
Man.
$2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala. $644 million for a community stabilization program in Iraq that actually funded Sunni insurgents and ISIS terrorists.
$644 million for community stabilization program funding ISIS.
$20 million for bribing journalists to smear Rudy Giuliani and drove Trump's impeachment campaign.
Oh, that's all. That's where's that money coming from?
Oh my goodness, producer, it's 12,703,252 condoms.
Oh no.
Thanks, banked.
All right. Well,
you're fired. Want to know that? I just, it's not all nefarious.
Right.
It's not all. It's just accidents. It's just no. I'll let y'all write the rest of the joke in this.
Right.
So
right.
He continues. So one of the people in the committee asked him a question. Go ahead.
We have a blind man in charge of the oversight committee, and he's trying to explain that you send how many million? 12 million? How many?
50 million for the condoms?
Yeah.
50 million.
Yeah.
$50 million with
how many, but that was how many?
12 yeah. 12,703,252.
There's a lot of reasons for
Why is that number stuck in my head? I didn't even have to look at it this time. It's just thanks, bank. 12 million condoms.
Accidents happen.
Of your tax dollars.
I know. That's just.
And he has the nerve to get up here in front of this committee and say that.
Right.
Play the next clip from him.
So in the most recent report from the Inspector Generals, and this is the Council of the Inspector Generals, a nonpartisan group on integrity and efficiency in government, they identified more than $93 billion in potential savings. So the first thing that President Trump did coming into office was to fire 17 agency inspectors general. What can you tell us from POGO's standpoint? What does that do to our ability to identify and root out waste, fraud, and abuse?
Thank you, Congressman. I would say, to put it simply, it completely undermines our ability
Undermines.
to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. Inspector General exists for essentially one purpose, and they were originally created in the immediate aftermath of Watergate. And I think you all probably do not need me to give you a history lesson at all on what happened in the Watergate era. There's a reason they were created at that time, because there was a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse happening, and there were not cops on the beat that were internal, that were independent, that were situated in agencies to be able to find these things and expose them and do something about them. That's what Inspector General exists to do. Though it's completely anathema to, I'd say anathema to any stated mission to find cost savings and to root out waste, fraud, and abuse, to fire Inspector General and to undermine them. It makes no sense. Those two things do not add up.
12,703,252 condoms.
Yeah.
And he has the nerve to say this to our faces.
Yeah. Yeah.
59 million to house illegal immigrants, 520 million for ESG consultants in Africa,
Right.
20 million for a Sesame Street show in Iraq.
Yep.
What are you talking about?
Right. Well, you just didn't give those inspector generals long enough to do their job.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Since Watergate.
They just needed.
We didn't give them long enough to find the corruption.
Yeah.
If only they had time.
They were gaining on it.
They were gaining on it. Oh, $47,000 for transgender opera in Colombia.
Yeah, they're about to get to that.
644 million for community stabilization programs in Iraq.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
And this is what we're getting.
Yeah. Wow.
And so at that same event that Ayanna Pressley was at, I didn't see all of it. So our producers found a clip of, I think it's Emmanuel Cleaver, who's a representative in Missouri,
Okay.
who just was going bonkers over Elon. And he has a message for Elon Musk.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to be quick because I want to send a message to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Elon, take your musty millions and musty Moscow rights to the moon. Because if you don't, we're going to stand up, we're going to speak out, we're going to march, we're going to do anything we need to do to make sure that the people of this country understand that the CFPB is for them. You get your musty hands off of our money or go to Moscow. You musty moon.
Elon Musk is out here. He's got these Democrats praying.
See him praying on my downfall. Let him pray. Let him pray.
When you see them out here marching and when you see them out here doing these events like this is their form of praying, because this is their power.
Right.
Right? If we get loud enough, now we have the ability to get our God to listen. I'm like, pray louder. Let him pray. Maybe your God is on the toilet.
What did he say at the end there? Moo moo?
Moo moo. He's speaking in tongues.
Something about moo moo.
He was speaking in tongues.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had it in, and I don't know the translation because I don't do that no more.
Yeah.
But maybe
but he was calling on his God.
But why Elon Musk? He ain't touching nobody's money. They're literally people who have been touching your money, sending 12 million,
right,
703,252 condoms to nations that are not even in America. First of all, the government should be doing that anyway.
Right. Yeah. Why are we buying condoms?
620, like millions. And I just want to say, like, Pastor, I'm sorry, I'm a little perturbed by this, but
you about to say moo moo? I'm just curious. I don't know.
I need to be a sound bite now just to get moo moo on there.
Moo moo.
First, two things I was thinking about today as I was seeing Tulsi Gabbard getting sworn in.
Get confirmed.
Confirmed.
Yes.
Was, oh my goodness, Trump doesn't even have his whole team. I think there's like 7 or 8 people he still got to get all the way into their position. Like they're still filling out his 3. RFK, yeah. We're still
it looks like he's gonna go through now.
Yeah.
The committee, I think, has passed him.
Yeah. So we're finally gonna get there. Probably by the end of this month, we'll be fully in, right?
Okay.
And so I'm thinking, oh wow, that's crazy. Like he's not even got his whole team. And then I thought about the fact, like, what we are talking about with USAID is $44 billion is what they get annually, I believe.
Okay.
And they are 1% of our current American budget. And that's what we're having our fight about right now.
Right.
We haven't opened up anything else yet to really start dealing with or working through.
Right.
We are talking about 1% of our budget.
One cockroach.
No, we're talking about his little leg.
Yeah.
Like he got a whole fleet back here. So we're talking about like a little part of his leg.
Yeah,
We
right.
found a piece of the cockroach's leg. We think we're infested.
Moo moo. Moo moo. Yeah.
And he doesn't have his whole team. And they've been able to kick up a massive fuss just working through 1% of the budget right now. I keep saying this. We are not ready for what's about to happen. We are not, we don't even, like whatever God is about to reveal to us. And I keep thinking about this because Gabe brought it up and I'm like, I want to take some serious thought about it. When God pulls it back, I mean, they're talking about releasing the JFK files and FBI files on Martin Luther King. And we're about to see some ugly stuff.
Yeah.
The Epstein files.
Right. Right.
I mean, we have no idea to what level this sin is ingrained inside of our American society.
Right.
And whatever God is doing is he's revealing it. And we need to be the kind of people that are ready to talk to folks about where you take your shame to, where you take your sin to, because there's about to be a whole lot of it uncovered. And if people are wanting to always take their sin and their shame and try and cover up or point the blame at somebody else, instead of saying, I'm David, I'm the man in the mirror, that's me, Lord, forgive us.
Yeah.
Unless we are the kind of people that know how to take our sin to Jesus, we are not going to make it through this very well. And I think, and so I'm concerned a little, I'm very excited, like watching Doge and going to their website. I'm excited to see what is happening and the information. We've been wanting this information for years.
Right.
And I'm praying that God has our heart to the place to be able to take it and then be repenting for the sin that we've been committing for years. I mean, we haven't even, we were talking about at this Doge committee, how they've been treating animals and the experiments and putting dead turtles on, what do they call them?
What's that?
Treadmills. Yeah, they're putting dead turtles on treadmills.
Treadmills?
Yeah, it's all sorts of experimenting and making cats glow to try and see if to test.
Wait, why are they putting turtles on treadmills?
It's a whole sort of study that works with like migration and everything like that, and trying to figure out how turtles migrate and protect them and preserving turtles.
But they're dead.
Yeah, it's weird. They have look. I have a bigger issue.
Sorry, I got confused.
No. My issue is if you have a problem with your migration of turtles and you're seeing that they're dying off in large numbers. First of all, don't be an evolution, because then evolution is just working, right? Because you can't answer that if you're an evolutionist.
Right.
But if you have a problem this way with your nature starting to spew you out, you want to go back and say, okay, where have we sinned at? Right. Because obviously something is wrong with the ecosystem, and the ecosystem works off of worship, and we've sinned against God in such a way that we need to repent. That's what we need to be thinking about.
Right.
Right. Like, so this whole thing is flawed. You shouldn't even be doing the study in the beginning.
Right.
Right. But so you got that, and then you have this one with cats and HIV. They're trying to figure out how to get rid of HIV.
Wait, who's doing these things?
A lot of different. Some schools are funded by scientific. You got
But this is like federal funding.
Yes,
federal funding
that is going to these studies.
Put dead turtles on.
It's crazy. You know what? I think Rand Paul delivers every year, like all the crazy government spending that we do.
Yeah.
I can't read that because it's just like it's too much.
Right.
It's too much. And just to go back to like the turtle thing for a second.
Yeah, I'm glad we're going back there.
Yeah,
I'm still confused.
We should get the study like when Gabe gets back and just make him read it as punishment on the show.
Yeah, I think we should make him do that.
But I guess what they're just trying to worry about their migration patterns. You know, the energy it takes them to move from the
but they're
ocean.
Dead? They're dead.
Yeah, because they don't want to harm the real turtles with this type of thing that they're doing. So they're using.
How do dead turtles tell us anything about living turtles?
Well, I guess the fast way that the treadmill moves gives us momentum, and they can adjust it.
Is he saying this right, producer? Are you?
So it helps us with.
Traction that they needed to get from the beach into the water and in the water, like so that they could calculate like the work and force of their movements.
So I don't know how they do it with a dead turtle.
So, but the dead turtles?
Yes.
Yes, because they have the same strength, composition, and weight as the living.
So they're trying to figure out how to get the turtles back to the water.
Yes.
And so they're trying to simulate the movement of a turtle.
But he's dead.
But they don't want to use live ones
because they don't want to hurt him. Cause stress. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow,
they're
wow.
using. So, by the way,
I mean, okay. I mean, if a private individual wants to do something like this,
I was just gonna say,
you know, hey, more power to you.
Right.
But let's not. I don't really want my tax dollars spent on
putting dead
dead
turtles,
turtles on treadmills.
Well, this is the thing about the cats. So they take the cats. They've been having all sorts of trials with cats. They're making cats glow so that they know that they've touched inside their DNA. They've actually manipulated their DNA code.
Okay.
Because they're trying to get AIDS out of the system of the cats, and so they have to inject them with this. Was it a jellyfish? A jellyfish gene, so they know when it takes, the cats glow with ultraviolet light.
Okay.
And so they know that the gene is taking effect, and supposedly it gets rid of the whatever the it helps them track the AIDS inside of the cat.
Okay.
But supposedly, like, this gene is generational, so that that gene follows through. So if they actually cure it, it would go for the next generation to be cured, so on and so forth.
Okay.
So they're doing all these testings,
All
right?
right, all right.
And so, but you can't test your way out of curses.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
this is, people don't like this, but I'm going to say,
well, that's alchemy.
Sure. Yes.
Alchemy is an attempt to, you're trying to sort of trick gold out of raw metals, right? You're trying to trick blessing out of
witchcraft.
It's witchcraft.
Yeah.
And alchemy, and that's so that's
well, and I think I was reading with the family. We were going through Kings, and something, David gets the kingdom back, and he gets a famine. And you get a famine. Well, the first thing you think about is like you need to find out who has some food and some seed in the ground. You got to figure out how to, get your commerce working real quick. But that's not what the Bible said David did.
Right.
The Bible says that David went to inquire of the Lord.
Right. Right.
And then he figured out from the Lord that he had blood guilt.
Oh yeah.
You can't outseed blood guilt.
Yeah. Right.
You can't outplant blood guilt.
Right.
A lot of the problems that we're having is blood guilt on our land, especially with abortion.
Yep.
That's a lot of blood guilt. And do we think that we're going to be able to escape that somehow? That we're going to outproduce it and find enough genes that?
No, I think that's what we think.
We think that we can.
Yeah. No, we think that we think that we can outspend it.
Yeah.
We can pay for it all. We can have a big enough GDP. We can,
Yep.
I think that is what people have been thinking. I mean, that's what's going on.
And there's no way out of it except for going to the Lord, which is my whole point about this anyway. Whatever we're about to see, it seems like God is going to give us the opportunity to see a bunch of mess.
Yeah.
We're going to have to take all of this to Jesus.
Right.
And we're going to have to ask him to forgive us for our sins for a lot of things.
This guy, what's his name again? The guy, the Moo guy.
Cleaver?
Cleaver.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, he said something like, stop taking our money.
Right.
And the irony is that he's actually giving the money back. Like Elon's giving the money back.
Right.
And
they're lying.
By giving the money back, he thinks that means the money's being taken.
That's what you said about Ayanna Pressley about the understanding of government.
Right. Right. This is the exact same thing. It's
the
like
paternal realities of the government.
It's like freedom is the government providing for me.
Yes.
Whereas we're saying, no, freedom is you taking responsibility for you and your family and your people, and then banding together as you so desire and see fit with other people. That's freedom. And so it's almost like they've got this completely inverted image of, I don't have money unless the government has money. I don't have freedom unless the government has my freedom, which tells you their God is.
That's right.
Their God is the government. Their God is the state. This is stateism.
That's right.
Which is so. I think you're right. I mean, so in a deeply ironic way, the fact that we've got this South African guy who wants to go to Mars, and let's make a deal, Trump. They are dismantling the idol.
Yeah.
They are, they're chopping off branches on this sacred oak of Thor.
They just brought the axe to the side of the tree. That's all they've done.
But to your point, again, it's like if USAID is 1% of the budget, it's like they just clipped one of his nails. They're like, well, that's a little bit of a long nail, and everybody went, bah!
Yeah,
and they're freaking out and moo moo, and like it's like, oh, which I think to your point is like if like what if they chop one of his fingers off?
Right.
I mean, like we barely we just trimmed a little twig
without the whole team.
Right. Yeah. No, I know. But I think it's, I mean, it sure looks like Trump is determined to do it. There's going to, he wants the government to get a haircut.
Yeah.
It's like this is Nebuchadnezzar and he ain't had a haircut in a while.
Yeah.
But they're freaking out.
You said something just a moment ago that made me think about, you were talking about if I have more money, then I can help my people, be a blessing to them. If the government has more money, you have less money,
right?
And they get to decide where to spend your money. Like 12,703,252 condoms.
Right.
They get to decide.
That's
to
freedom.
That's freedom.
That's freedom.
Right. Get your hands on my money, Musk. I want to sell give away some condoms. Right. But just to prove your point about people who actually are free and have liberty, the more money they have, we've been really a generous society in more ways than I can count. And I mean that by things like Kickstart, GoFundMe.
Right.
And there was a guy, this is the weirdest thing, a guy during the snow blizzard a couple months ago took a package from UPS over to this gentleman who really needed this package. And he got a tip of like $1 or something like that. Yeah. Now, he doesn't know if the guy actually had a bunch of money or didn't have a bunch of money. But another guy was filming this whole thing happen, just, watching the delivery guy do his job. And he came back. He's like, how much you get? He's like, $1. And the guy watching the video was outraged.
Okay.
You traveled in all this snow. You did a very kind thing that you didn't have to do. It was dangerous, whatever. And you made it happen. That's not right. And he gave the guy like $15.
Okay.
And then started a GoFundMe page for the guy.
Okay.
And the guy, last time I saw it, over $500 that people had all from everywhere given for a driver who drives a truck that gets paid a higher tip because everybody felt like he deserved it.
Right.
Now, I didn't get any money because I didn't think that's not a cause I wanted to give my money to.
Right.
But somebody did it.
Yep.
It happened. And the guy was blessed from it. And they got the chance with their money. Imagine how much more we could do with our money if we didn't give $50 million
to condoms. That's a really good point. Like, you just think like, so the Democrats are trying, and rhinos are trying to convince you that if we are free, there will be a bunch of people not taken care of.
That's right.
They're trying to convince you that if we don't have all these government programs, there'll be all these poor people and all these disabled people and all these minorities that will be forgotten. And I think a great counter argument is GoFundMe.
Absolutely.
Is what's the other one? The Give Send Go.
Give Send Go.
I mean, the proliferation of those things is impressive.
Companies made for you to go bless people.
And notice this. And we're doing it while
being robbed.
Like, just think about that.
I know.
And they're like, you guys, you won't be generous. People won't be generous.
If you had money, you wouldn't be generous. If you had
money, and we were like, we don't have money now.
Yes.
And we are being generous.
Come on now.
We don't, we're being robbed 6 ways to Sunday.
Yep.
On your gas, on your property, on your income, on your state income, on your federal income, on your inheritance, on your car, like everything. And what are we doing?
Still blessing.
We're taking care of our people. A whole bunch of us are homeschooling our kids with our own money, sending our kids to classical conversations and classical Christian schools with our own money after we already got robbed to pay for schools that we don't use.
That's right.
I mean, so like, that's the lie. Like they're trying to say you can't be trusted with that freedom. And this is a moment where the American people, Christians in particular, need to say, hell no.
Absolutely.
No. Like you've done quite enough here. What you have done is you have robbed us, and you are sending our money that you stole from us. How many?
Which one? Which number do you want?
2 million, 12 million?
How many
I
condoms?
forgot. I'm not even paying attention to the number, but you just keep rattling it off.
12,703,252 condoms
to Mozambique, right? That's okay. God says in his word that idols are stupid. Idols are stupid and they make people stupid.
You become like your idols.
Become like your idols. And it's like God is just like okay, you serve the condom God. like that, that's what this is.
Guess who I'm going to put over your oversight committee?
Yeah. A blind guy. Yeah. No, it's absolutely true. And it just becomes more and more obvious. God says, okay, you want this? You want to serve an impotent deity. Okay, here's a symbol, condom. You want to serve an impotent deity. Here's the head of the oversight committee. He's blind.
This is just like right out of the Bible.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's like the parables of Jesus. It's like, let me tell you a parable. It's absolutely insane. And so it's like, and I'm grateful for this moment because I think a lot of people are seeing it. I think you have the Anderson Coopers of the CNN world,
right?
And like they have no argument, they only have insults.
That's it.
They have no argument, they only have bluster. You got the bald lady, and she's like, I'll consider efficiency,
right?
But it's like
because it's not just that if you can't be trusted, it's that they don't want you to be free.
No.
Because you can't be controlled.
Right.
They want to control your money.
Right.
When they can't bless people.
Right.
They can't bless people. That's not how they're wild. You've always talked about this. The government is a wild beast.
Right.
You don't want them making you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and doing surgery on you.
Right. No, there is a glory.
Yes.
To the civil government when it is biblically limited. When it is limited according to the authority that God's given it, when it's got those limits on it and it embraces those limits, it is glorious.
It's a blessing.
It's a great blessing. But as soon as it comes out of those limits, it's this wild beast that is destructive. It has a gloriously limited task to punish evildoers, protect private property, defend life. Ensure
create human flourishing through that,
equal weights and measures, and it does, and when it does that and it stays in its lane, and then allows you and me to do what we were made to do. That's how things get fruitful. That's how things are productive. That's how there's flourishing in the world. But that only happens. This goes back to the point you were making earlier, Knox, is that it's only possible when people fundamentally are turning to Christ.
That's it.
It's idols or Christ. It's Christ or condoms. I mean, that's literally. I mean, it sounds crass, but like
should have been the title of the show.
Yeah, but that's the God they're praying to.
Oh, that's right.
That's the God they're praying to. Fruitlessness, impotence, right? That's their God, and that is the idol of those who are bound in their sins, are completely enslaved to their idols.
And this is one of those moments, Elijah moments too. Their God is dead, and He's not coming to answer them.
No, yeah, they're cutting themselves.
They're cutting themselves. They're doing this
all
thing
over the place.
As an FC, let them pray.
Right. Yeah. Moo. Yeah. Oh, it's insane. That's crazy. You got a psalm for me? Oh, there it is. There we go. This is Psalm 7. You want to open my beer?
Yes.
With that magic trick. Psalm 7. O Lord my God, in thee do I put my trust. Save me from all them that persecute me and deliver me, lest he tear my soul like a lion, rending it in pieces while there's none to deliver. O Lord my God, if I have done this, if there be iniquity in my hands, if I have rewarded evil unto him that was at peace with me, yea, I have delivered him that without cause is my enemy, let the enemy persecute my soul and take it. Yea, let him tread down my life upon the earth and lay my honor in the dust. Selah. Arise, O Lord, in thine anger, lift up thyself because of the rage of mine enemies, and awake for me to the judgment that thou hast commanded. So shall the congregation of the people compass thee about. For their sakes, therefore, return thou on high. The Lord shall judge the people. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness and according to mine integrity that is in me. O let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end, but establish the just. For the righteous God trieth the hearts and reins. My defense is of God, which saveth the upright in heart. God judgeth the righteous, and God is angry with the wicked every day. If he turn not, he will whet his sword. He hath bent his bow and made it ready. He hath also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordaineth his arrows against the persecutors. Behold, he travaileth with iniquity, and hath conceived mischief, and brought forth falsehood. He made a pit, and digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he made. His mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealing shall come down upon his own pate. I will praise the Lord according to his righteousness, and will sing praise to the name of the Lord Most High. Psalm 7 is a glorious cry for justice and deliverance, and it puts words in our mouths that many Christians have a really hard time with. First of all, this prayer tells God about particular enemies that want us dead. And it says that if we have done anything to deserve this kind of treatment, then God should let them carry out that sentence. If we've been evil in our dealings, if we've been belligerent, if we have been firebrands, if we have caused these enemies to become our enemies, then let our enemies persecute us and let them tread down our life upon the earth. May our honor be covered with dust. Can you pray that? But then the psalm continues, calling on God to arise in anger. Do you ever pray that? Do you ever call upon God and ask him to get angry with the wicked? You should. Psalm 7 says you should. God's anger is perfect. When God gets angry, good things happen. David sings that God ought to do this for the sake of the congregation of saints that gathers in worship. And then David prays that God would judge him according to his righteousness. But catch this. When's the last time you asked God to judge you according to your righteousness, according to your integrity? You ask God that? You say, God, look down upon me. Look down upon my integrity. Judge me and save me. Modern Christians have been trained to only think of their sin, their failures, and their weaknesses. But praying the Psalms also teaches you to believe that God has made you righteous in his perfect Son. Sinful men cannot pray this without pulling down judgment upon themselves. But by faith, Christians do stand before God in the righteousness and integrity of Christ. And by his grace, it's not hypocritical to remind God of the true obedience he has given to us. Even this psalm identifies our defense is in God. He tries our hearts and our reins. He knows everything about us, and it is he who saves us. But if he saves us, then we can claim that salvation, and we can appeal to him to save us even more, to deliver us from the wicked, to deliver us from the evildoers that are persecuting us and trying to destroy us. Finally, this psalm closes singing out that God is angry with the wicked every day. God whets his sword, God bends his bow, and he has prepared the instruments of death for the wicked. Sing that at the top of your lungs, if you can. The psalm says that the way God destroys the wicked is frequently by simply letting them fall into the pits they have dug for others. Evil is this way. Sin is self-destructive. This is what allows Christians to sing praises to God even in the midst of great evils. All evil men are like Haman. They're Hamans, building gallows that they intend to hang the righteous on. But in the end, Haman always gets hung on his own gallows. The glorious thing, though, is that Christ was also hung on gallows for all who would turn from their sins. All of us deserve the gallows. We deserve to have our lives tread down upon the earth and our honor buried in the dust. But Christ came and took our place. He laid his life down upon the earth and laid his honor in the dust for us. He who knew no sin became sin for us, so that we might become the righteousness of God in him. The only perfect, faithful man took the place of Judas, took the place of Haman, took the place of me and you. And so this is how God destroys his enemies. You either fall on the rock of Christ and are healed, or else the rock falls on you and you are crushed. I didn't get you a beer.
Actually,
okay. All right. Cheers.
I enjoy these. It was good. That's good, Pastor.
You're welcome.
If you're single, get married. If you're married, have you some kids. And if you have kids, go baptize them. Till tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politic.
What if you could join a network of business leaders who share your Christian values, who reject the separation of faith and business, and who have a fierce vision for success? Welcome to Business Makers Network, a network that strives to create community, build intellectual wealth and practical business knowledge, and grow thriving businesses for the kingdom. We're not just another business network. We are a community of unapologetic Christian leaders who understand that success in business blesses our customers, blesses our families and employees, and in the end drives greater profits. All of Christ for all our business efforts as we aim to take the talents God has given us and turn them into 30, 60, and 100-fold. With a combined net worth already exceeding $1 billion in committed memberships, our members are reshaping the business landscape while staying true to our Christian values and taking dominion in the lanes God has paid for us. As a member, you'll gain exclusive access to our Business Makers Network app, discounts to live workshop events, network calls with key influencers, access to like-minded Christian business leaders, a pool of hands-on intellectual wealth and practical business knowledge, mentorship and menteeship programs. We will be rolling those out over the coming year. Read-only access for the tier above you for educational purposes. Invitations to our annual corporate partner dinner. Networking events at the Fight Laugh Feast conference. We offer membership tiers designed to match your business journey. From our exclusive Double Diamond level for industry titans, to our green membership for promising startups, to our MVP tier that is looking for a community of Christian, like-minded business leaders. There's a place for every serious business leader in our community. Your network is your net worth. Join Business Makers today and become a part of a movement that is changing the face of Christian business leadership. Visit our website now to secure your membership and step into a community where faith, business, and success align.